Background.
Oh, yes. Good. Zoom going.
Right. Good evening, everyone. It is 7:02. I will call the meeting to order. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
So there was one, and that is for the extra zoning amendments. So as you know, there was a lot of hamlet zoning amendments. And by the way, I've got a frog on my throat. I'm suffering from a sickness, so eat my physical. Just in case anything lingers. I'm talking to this microphone, so here. So the only addition to the agenda, it came on today, it was because last night at the town board, there was a public hearing scheduled for April 7th to add in definitions about data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities. And to essentially ban them in town. It's just basically taking town of Dryden's law that they recently passed in February, where basically define what it is and then just don't allow it in the zoning. So that was added to the amendment package that the town been working on for a while that you've already seen. So I can pull that up at the end of it. That's the only addition.
Okay, good. Moving on, privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to speak? Generally, not in direct. To either of the development reviews, but just general questions or comments. Ted?
Thanks. I would just like to request that anyone who is further away from the microphone than, say, Jake and Ed, speak very loudly and clearly, because what we hear is both soft and it contains a lot of room echo. So you have to really speak up to be picked up by the microphone. Works great for the folks sitting next to it. Thanks.
Will do. All right, next, any other comments?
Just since there's more of you not here, I'll just reorient this just so it's like this. Capturing a little bit more of you all. So
Demoted over there.
It'll pick you up.
All right, approval of the minutes from February. Would anyone like to make a motion? For minutes approval. All right, thank you, Scott.
I'll second right on.
Bergman,
Abstain.
Over,
Yes.
David,
Yeah.
Driver. Yes. Meyer. Yes. All right. Town liaison report. Leslie, you're up.
We're really small, so it's hard to read it. But this has been the month of people making comments about, why don't you guys do this? How come you guys aren't doing that? And why is, something gonna happen when it should not happen anyway? I thought I'd go through at least the list that I know of, that I heard things about. One of them was about the planned skate park. How come it's not gonna be in the park? That's what it should be. How come it's gonna be over on Ball Hill? So Joel actually reached out to the park to ask if they would consider it. And they got back to him, and there were a number of reasons why they felt like it wasn't to the benefit of the park. Trying to think of some of the, it would be contrary to the natural environment, given the impervious construction surfaces, use of mechanical devices. There would be no construction allowed in the conservation easement area without state approval. the spot that the town would have been interested in is not in conservation easement area, but it's at the front of the park, and they felt like they didn't wanna get,
Have it right by the
lose
street.
ownership of the front of the park.
Oh, okay.
And there were liability concerns. But, I think a lot of it has to do with their feeling that it's a natural space, and skate park would not go well with that. Anyway, so that's the end of that one. I don't want to go that one again.
Okay.
Other one is, I assume people are aware that flock cameras we were slated to have 2 of them installed. Not sure what's gonna happen with that. I know the city has said no, but I assume the county has not said no yet. And the sheriff is gonna come to our next board meeting on April 3rd, to talk about, flock cameras. So people should come to that, if you're interested. Oh, the other one is the flare. What are you guys doing about that? You haven't written a letter, but the Finger Lakes Area Infrastructure Project of NICEAG, I assume everybody's heard of it. They're replacing all their the transmission line that runs from Montour Falls over to Covington Road. Much higher metal structures with a huge amount of increase in the voltage capacity. And a lot of people are just questioning the need for it, and the impact it has on the environment and people who live in it.
And they're gonna use that to raise our rates even more. And
For better service.
yeah.
But apparently an angry squirrel can take out your power.
So the other one is, what are you guys doing about the data center stuff, which I guess Greg has got on his the public hearing is set for the first meeting in April 7th, the 7th
Yeah.
of April. So we hope people can come and give their opinions about that. That's.
Thank you. All right, then we will move into development review. First on the agenda is 1537 Danby Road, which we looked at last time. We have the final application. Mine, that was order, I think.
Yeah, 2 of them, 1 of them,
Just to keep us on our toes.
just to make sure you're proving the right thing.
All right,
And he's not, Will isn't here tonight, he was going to show up last night and said, no, it's a town board meeting, tomorrow's the planning board meeting, so.
okay.
You didn't see anybody show up last night that looked really confused and walked out, and okay,
No.
alright. Looks cool. So, I mean, he doesn't need to be here to approve this or to
Right.
review it. He was here last time. It hasn't changed, it's just a
Right.
formal final subdivision plat now.
Yep. All right, so can you just throw it up on the screen? For those who were not here last time. Oh, actually, I think I already. I'm so confused. More or less splitting it in half. A little bit bigger on one side than the other side. And we need to do seeker, public hearing, and final approval.
Correct. Yeah, so this is in the low density residential, requires a minimum road frontage of 200 feet, it looks like that he has it with 200 and 220. The minimum lot area is 2 acres, so each of these lots is a little over 5 acres. That's basically it. I know that he would also like to, he's not showing it on this plat, and it's fine. But I think he wants to just take some of this half acre here and just combine it into his lot. And, but that's not part of this approval, that could be handled through a land annexation, it doesn't impact this proposal at all.
That would still be they'd still be allowable area, so it wouldn't matter. Okay. All right, I think we already declared lead agency the last meeting, right? So we just need to look at the form,
Yep.
unless anyone has any questions or comments on the final plat.
So let me. You wanna look at let's see, the first part of the EAF, the environmental assessment, or. I think we reviewed this last time, but. Didn't see any things that need to be corrected, or just gonna roll down through and see anything that should be corrected. So we're coming up with zoning, within the comprehensive plan. Consistent with the predominant character of the existing built natural landscape. It's not a critical environmental area. Not going to increase traffic levels. Guess it's near public transportation, that's great. No pedestrian or bicycle routes. The next three can be not applicable for meeting or exceeding energy code, having existing public private water, even though it has private water. Subdivision doesn't, need to sort of indicate either way, or existing wastewater utility. So if there were any development on these lots, they would be handled through each of these questions. Every level would be handled through full health department. Not have any historical significance or adjacency to that. It's near, or it's on land that is adjacent to wetlands and water bodies that are adjacent. He's not proposing to impact them. Again, that's something that Danby has in its last zoning code has, really gone the length of making sure that any development within 50 feet of a stream is going to come to the plan board. So even when it sort of this box gets checked during subdivision review, I can be sort of sure that for any development whatsoever, it's going to have to come back to the plan board. Looks like these ones that get checked. So identify the typical habitats that occur on or like we found. Okay, so well, I know that I drive by the site all the time.
Yeah.
It's forest, I'd say early mid-successional, maybe suburban, just because there's houses there.
That sounds fine.
So I can't shut that, so I'll make sure to make those notes. I think I made the change, I went through this and I must have changed it on my local file, not in this file here. So make sure to change that. Let's see, moving on down. There's no threatened or endangered species on the site, it's not a floodplain. It's not creating stormwater discharge, there's no development proposed. No water. No solid waste landfills, the area. Or these sites adjoining that are subject for remediation. Any comments, suggestions for the DA? Short first part. All right, so we'll go into the second part. And I've just listed that no or small impact may occur for each of the potential impact. And in the description in part 3, said that the proposed subdivision meets the standards of the low density residential zoning district, will not have adverse environmental impacts. And if you agree with that, There is a draft resolution that somebody could move for there, then move. Or move your own resolution.
So many choices. Move that we use the draft resolution we created. It's pretty straightforward.
I'll second.
And so just to be clear, this is, that's, that the town of Danby Planning Board, based on careful consideration of the application materials, determines the proposed minor subdivision will result in no significant impact on the environment, and that a negative declaration for purposes of Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law be filed in accordance with the provisions of Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Yes.
Bergman,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Freiberg,
Yes.
and Meyer. Yep. All right, and then I will open public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to comment or speak for or against the subdivision? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And if anyone would like to make a motion to approve the final plat.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. It is just the approving of the draft resolution, or just approving it just?
Up to you, if you made the motion.
Really put him on the spot.
Yeah. I'm like,
You mean that the?
yeah,
Yeah. Draft, okay,
Yeah.
great.
I'll be more clear the next time around. Bergen,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Freiberg,
yes.
yes. All right, one down. We go. Right, I'll look at that from you after the time. Okay, next, review on development reviews is for 133 Jersey Hill Road. Again, we saw this one last time, this one is rural 1, subdivision into 2 lots. It looks like the final version has 20 acres for the small lots. And the remainder in the second lot, 36.95.
Good pull up.
Sure.
And then Satya's here, if,
Mhm.
and her brother helps as a. So they want to. Say it either.
So based on the discussion we had last time about the cluster developments and housing credits, we kind of. Took it back to the discussion and we realized we wanted to keep it simple and we're gonna go with 20 acres for that one lot. And then the remainder with the rest,
Sounds
and
good.
we made it a flag lot just to, you know, shift. Kind of where some of those lines were, in regards to.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments on the final configuration?
Will that work okay for them if they subdivide parcel A? There's no frontage or anything problems for them?
Currently, no, the standard, the rural one doesn't have.
Oh, that's right,
It-
that's right.
It used to have
So they're also,
a road frontage requirement, the state requires a minimum, this, 15, but also depending on how deep the lot is, it could be bigger, up to 26 feet.
Yeah,
So, Danby's just right now requires a minimum of 10 acres and a minimum lot depth of 800 feet.
so they're not gonna be encumbered if they wanna subdivide that.
Right, or even if they wanted to just add a second dwelling unit, they'd have to come back to the planning board to request a cluster development area, because they have 20 acres, they've got sort of
Right.
2 credits and they can
Right,
cluster
Right.
those.
Okay.
okay. All right, any other questions, or we can look at the seeker? Alright, so we pull up the part A or part 1, I mean. We can just cruise through it and see what in depth on the first one.
It's like, so it looks like the surveyor updated these numbers to be 56.95, so I'll make sure to make that correction,
Oh,
but
okay,
that the 36 acre lot is 36.95, but that's minor.
okay,
And it's in here, so whole lot is 56.95. Check all land uses that occur. Box check residential, there's probably more,
yeah, you should probably add forest on there, right?
this takes some notes. It's a permitted use of the zoning, it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. Consistent with the predominant character. No critical environmental area. Probably won't increase traffic too much, no public transportation, no pedestrian or bicycle facilities. Unfortunately, and then not applicable for 9, 10, 11 again. There aren't any historic sites on or near the property that the state knows of. Doesn't have any water bodies that are regulated currently, but again, Danby has, if there were developments near a water body, Danby's already got that covered. Typical habitats, and this one's checked, forest and early mid succession, that seems about right. No threatened or endangered species, not a floodplain. No stormwater discharge that happened with this development. No water, no solid waste landfills, no sites of hazardous waste remediation. Straightforward. So the part 2 is similar to last subdivision, just suggesting no small impact may occur from the subdivision. And with the part 3, did the same thing, that the proposed subdivision meets the standards of the rural zoning district and will not have hazardous impacts. And there in the draft resolution.
Anyone like to add anything or set forth a motion? It's so quiet tonight.
Oh,
Close my chair.
it's my final motion.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, I move that we accept the draft resolution.
I'll second that.
Then that negative declaration.
Yes.
Right.
Bergman,
Yes.
Over,
Yes.
Davis,
Gotcha.
Freiberg.
Yeah.
Meyer. Yeah. Motion passed. All right. I will open public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to comment or speak for or against the subdivision? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Would anyone like to make a motion or make any other additional comment? And there is a draft resolution. You want to make a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Bergman,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Ever,
Yes.
Meyer? Yes.
You have the class right there?
Look at that.
Yeah,
Four.
okay. You went planning on four right now?
No,
Okay.
fine. As long, yeah, or if you want to. Have. What's four is right there? Wow. Are we at the ag
Yep.
district portion?
Yep.
If you wanna start, we could start the discussion. So you wanna come up and start the discussion while I'm signing?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good. I thought maybe I could
If
just,
you wanna just come, just so the camera can
Yeah.
see you, you
and
can.
the speaker is right in the middle, right there. Okay.
Try and, if it's for.
Yes, good. You good?
Maybe.
Can the.
Do you want me to? I
Oh,
can.
you're good, I'll just slide it down.
Okay.
You can get a little more control.
Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Buck. I know I've met some of you before. I'm from Cooperative Extension. And I have two parcels that we've had a request from landowners to be added to the ag district. Before we talk about the specific parcels, I thought we'd just do a quick overview of what ag districts do. So there's the idea is it kind of provides this framework of support for agriculture, kind of prioritizes them in particular areas across the county. So there's 5 main things that it does. It protects commercial farms from nuisance suits. So there's lots of smells and sounds associated with agriculture, as long as those are, you know, what you would expect from agriculture, they're regular operating processes and procedures, then those are protected from nuisance suits. It protects from what state law defines as unreasonably restrictive local regulations. Usually that comes up when a farmer needs to build a barn. Either it's like the location on the property, maybe the setbacks make it tricky for that farmer to be a viable working farm, or the size restrictions on a barn or something like that. So the ag district law protects against that and asks the municipalities to have your zoning, for example, be supportive of farming. There's some other so those are the 2 main things. It also requires that anyone who is buying land in an agricultural district receive notification through the buying process that says they're buying property in an ag district, that they should expect the sounds and smells associated with agriculture. There's a restriction on if there's a new benefit assessment district that is extended into an agricultural district, that the tax assessed to farms, to commercial farms, is based just on a small residential piece of the property. So if you have a sewer district, for example, that's extended into an ag district, those active commercial farms would be assessed based on the 1 acre of residential land. And then the last piece is a notice of intent process. We typically see those for if there's a solar project that comes into an agricultural district. It's required for any time public funding is used on a project, or if a municipality acquires interest in a piece of property. And that process triggers a review by New York State Ag and Markets and by the Tompkins County Ag and Farmland Protection Board to provide recommendations on mitigation measures to reduce the impact on ag. They can have teeth behind it. They don't usually, it's usually a recommendation, but it's the way that, you know, it has an extra review layer. So, yeah,
So if, when you say it comes into an agricultural district, it sounds like it could also be like contiguous to an agricultural. So if somebody wanted to build a solar farm next to land that was protected under the ag district
yeah,
pictures.
right. It's only
that would
triggered,
apply, right?
it would not. It only is triggered if the actual property is in an ag district.
So then,
Yeah,
presumably the person that had it, that put this solar farm in or whatever, wanted it.
yeah.
So what does it do? It triggers all the neighbors then that are in the ag district?
I'm sorry, ask your question again. I didn't quite
So
follow
what
what you
about-
were.
So you said that it notifies of people in the ag district
There's-
about the impact. But
Yeah,
only if the thing that's being constructed is in the ag district.
right. It goes through
So
the
that
process.
person,
Yeah,
or entity that requested to construct whatever got constructed. They don't need notification because they're the ones that are doing it.
so there's,
So-
yeah, there's two pieces of notification requirements in ag district, and they're totally separate from each other. One is when you buy land in an ag district, you receive notification. The other one is what's called notice of intent, which is actually just a trigger for additional review. It's not notification to the neighbors. It's not, it triggers a review by Ag and Markets and by the
Oh,
county's
so it
Ag and Farm.
applies to the people who are building.
It applies, yes, and it's only triggered if it's public funding. So like
Okay.
most solar projects receive NYSERDA funding. That's what triggers it.
So-
Okay,
So that. Whether to beat this to death or not.
no, it's okay.
But you said, so it would minimize its impact on agriculture.
Yes.
So why would, so the state has to come in and tell the people that it's gonna impact their own agriculture on that?
Well, I mean, it does trigger, like, because it's a county agricultural district that is
Yeah.
implemented based on New York State law.
Right,
So Ag and Markets, you know, in my experience with them, they are acting as a way of bringing in an expert eye, as it were. Like what is done across the state to mitigate the impacts of these types of projects on agriculture? And that process includes the state, but it also includes the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board. And actually, in reality, what happens is the Ag and Farmland Protection Board gives advice to the state and says, based on what we know about local conditions, what we've heard from local municipalities, here's the potential impacts or things that we would like to see. So we do that for the solar projects that come through. The Ag and Farmland Protection Board reviews those and provides comments to the state, who then it goes back to the developer. So there's every 8 years, there's 2 agricultural districts in Tompkins County. Every 8 years, we do a comprehensive review of those ag districts. Town of Danby has 2 ag districts because of the way your geography is. And so the last ag district we completed, and I probably met with some of you like 3 years ago, and then we'll be starting another process next year for the ag district 1. That's the only time when property can be removed from the ag district. But every year, there's an open enrollment period when properties can be added to the ag district. So that period is in February, and it concludes March 2nd. We had 2 property owners from Danby request to be included. So I don't know if you all received the maps. We have 1 property, which is Steve Sellen's property. It's 20 or 19.68 acres on West King Road near Sandbank. It has a rural 1 zoning, and it's adjacent to his existing operating farm within the ag district. This is part of his operating farm. So let me just talk briefly about the process for this. So as we look at these, I'm seeking your input. And then I bring that to the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board. It's incorporated into a report of recommendation for whether or not these particular properties should be added to the district. It goes to public hearing. That won't happen until the end of May. May 19th is the tentative date on that. And then it goes for final adoption by the county legislature. So this is the process, this isn't the only opportunity for people to weigh in, but early on, we want to hear from the towns about whether or not you think these should be added. The guidance from New York state law says that we're looking for predominantly viable agricultural land to add. During the 8-year review process, there's lots of different types of land that's included in the ag district to kind of create these buffer areas around working farms. So, where we have residential up against ag, we want to include that residential because we want them to be notified. That's kind of one of the supportive things of it. For this review, what we're looking for is it viable or highly suitable land for a farm operation. It doesn't necessarily have to be in active agriculture or in commercial agriculture, but it does need to be predominantly viable agricultural land. So we have the Steve Selden's property and then Catherine Wouter's 101.32 acres at 2016 Danby Road, which is near Steam Mill and Curtis Roads on 96B.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Would they approach the board and do they have to give a reason? And an application is something about, there's sheep that maybe is expanding the orchard. You talk about just why they're, and I talked to Kat a little bit about the farmer will release some of her land.
Right.
Too, we've talked about that, just Steve's came out of the blues, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, Steve's was that he thought that all of his land was in the ag district. And he checked in with us to confirm that this piece of property is not. And because it's part of his farm operation, he uses that piece of land that's closer to the road as part of his farm. He requested that it be added.
And just for everyone, the cidery, which folks are probably familiar with, is right here, actually right here. So this is Sandbank Road that turns onto West King Road and Beaples here. So yeah, so it's adjacent to the cidery. It's on a 20-acre piece of land, and this is a 19-acre piece of land that abuts it.
Where does the park, I don't know is there whatever, where does that start?
It's back here. It's along this.
Oh, that's the edge right there, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Wooded areas, the preserve.
Kind of going down up the Lip Brook here.
Okay.
And then actually, we were talking about flare earlier, the flare project, this transmission line goes from Longport Falls up this way over to a Cottington substation. So this is actually where we're going to see these wooden poles that are from 60 feet tall to 100+ feet tall, steel frames. So very
Wow.
Determination that.
I mean, yes.
For agriculture.
Because
So
Yeah.
I prepare a draft report to the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board. It incorporates input from the municipality. I'm looking at things like soil, whether there's an active farm or a plan for an active farm. And then the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board adopts, or with modification, adopts that report, which is then forwarded to the county's planning committee, peak, and then to the county legislature.
So the municipality makes the recommendation.
The municipality provides feedback or input to the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board, but you are not providing.
Who looks at the soil map?
I look at the
You-
soil maps.
Oh.
And I mean, you can look at the soil maps too.
We're gonna-
I'll write a report based on that. And I will note that woodland can be part of a viable farm. It doesn't have to be open tillable.
course, I've got friends that have sheep in their woods, they've got
Right.
maple operation,
Yep.
timber.
And yeah, just timber, yeah, absolutely.
Goats running rampant.
I mean, I think you mentioned orchard, which probably means just taking down some of those trees and replacing them with other trees, but certainly could let a sheep roam in there without changing anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, the soil type seems favorable for the usage, and it's adjacent. Go ahead, Leslie.
I just, as like with the looking into, solar arrays that are going into ag. Is there anything with the flare project that's gonna have, is that get state funding or?
I don't know
You don't
the
know. I
details
just
of the
wonder if-
flare project.
I just wonder if that will, if there's, I'm sure between Montour Falls and Covington Road, there's a lot of land in the ag district.
Right,
I just wonder if
that's a good question,
That would-
yeah.
it'd be nice.
Jake is the ag representative on the board. I'm bored, you know.
Yeah, I know,
He
you're-
doesn't have any-
I mean, most of his operations already in it. I don't see why
Yeah.
we wouldn't want it in it. I mean, the big portion's already there, so we want to expand out to the protections. Which I don't blame them.
Any other feedback on this one? And we can jump to the other one down here at Davy Road. Okay, now let me go to. This one. This one, 2016 Danby Road, a little over 100 acre property. And the board saw this last year or 2 years ago. For the siting of a house. Because of the rural one zoning district, you have to get site plan approval. And the
Oh,
house,
the one with the new blue house?
it's going, is it blue?
It's blue skin wrap.
It's
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, right now it's blue from the road, yeah, yeah.
So the property goes very far back, house roughly is right here. And I talked to the person who might be farming for land, I think he's just to do it more in the area that's already cleared. A lot to, he's not living there,
Right, yeah.
and anything else you can provide about this one?
Yeah, I mean, she is interested in doing her own farming and is leasing out land to a small vegetable grower. There's a Christmas tree out, or not a nursery tree production area that she leases to somebody else. And I think, her goal is over time to expand the farming, both her own farming and leasing land out to other farmers.
Soil that.
That's a little less favorable on the soils, but clearly the land has been farmed before, so. Is that like a heavy factor for you, that looking at soils if
It
it's already
doesn't-
under something?
I mean, it would be, if I saw something that was like super swampy,
Oh, right, okay.
right, then I would be like, that's probably not viable land.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot with that land there,
Yeah.
for sure.
Any
Instructions,
Right. Great, thank you so much.
thank you.
Hopefully we can sell fresh vegetables.
Bob.
What's that?
I said, I've got to get yours.
Oh, yeah, we're good, fast. Missed the opportunity.
All right, shall we look at the zoning amendment? Oh, Ted, do you have a comment? Or a
Actually,
question?
it was a question. for Crystal. And first of all, I'd like to start by saying, Crystal, that was very concise and accurate summary of the ag district. I actually learned something from it, that about only 1 acre of a ag parcel would be considered for special districts. That's very interesting. And I'd like to thank you for not muddying the waters by bringing in some of the things that have been said at presentations like this in the past about how there are tax exemptions involved and all that sort of stuff, which just isn't true. The two properties that you described, and I took a look at the online information about them. They're both clearly ag properties. You know, there's no question that this is a good use of an ag district. My question has to do more with what's going to be happening next year and the year after in the once every 8-year review of District 1. To quote a sage of Danby, Danby's biggest agricultural product is building lots. And it has been a problem in the past that many building lots retain their agricultural district status long after they are clearly no longer farmable, as they get smaller and smaller. So my question, if you don't mind, is, you know, what's the farm board going to be doing about this? Will they be looking at removing parcels that really are not viable farming? And if so, what's the procedure? What's the criteria, et cetera?
Yeah, so what we typically look for, they have in the past prioritized creating more of like a blob rather than a smattering of farms in the ag district. And the reason for that is that there's the requirement of notification for buyers in the ag district that they are purchasing land within an ag district and they should expect the smells and the sounds associated with agriculture. And so there is a benefit to creating that kind of block rather than just including the farms within an area. So when we did the ag district review for ag district 2, 3 years ago, we did remove some residential where it was counter to the zoning of the municipality. So like I remember there was a couple properties in West Danby Hamlet area, and it was zoned for higher density or medium density residential. It didn't really belong within an ag district because of that. It wasn't like it was part of a block of landscape that was predominantly agriculture. And that's the approach that we take is, we look parcel by parcel. I do the initial report on that based on criteria that the county's Ag and Farmland Protection Board has specified. And we do look for properties or areas that are no longer predominantly agricultural and recommend removal of those. And then that report goes to, again, the planning committee of the county legislature, and it also goes to the county legislature for a recommendation of removal. Does that answer your question?
Yes. I think it's important also to consider that, in a sense, a smallish parcel that is probably not going to be farmed now or in the future, or doesn't look like it, is actually a ticking time bomb in a residential neighborhood. As we learned in Danby, people can decide to take the advantage of the agricultural protections. And I'd cite two cases that came up in Danby, which I'm sure everyone at the table will remember. One was on Danby Road, where they wanted to convert a residence into well, I'm sorry, it's a pejorative phrase, a party house, under the guise of being a farm outlet. That didn't come through, but it was a concern at the time. And the other one, I believe, was up on Howland Road with the a hemp processing facility. Once again, out there, it was not such a cut and dried issue because it is a rural farmable area. But agricultural protection actually became an issue in how to deal with what was otherwise a shall we say, adverse relationship between the hemp facility and the neighbors.
Yeah,
So-
and I appreciate those comments and, you know, even more, there's a year-long process that we go through when we do the full ag district update. And a big part of that is seeking input from the municipalities. So that process of kind of going area by area with great detail, I think, you know, is something that we would do for that process.
And I'd like to add that since it's relatively easy to get into an ag district, there's a review every year, which is about the time frame that you actually say might take to develop a property into a farm. I think that it's better to be safe than sorry. Removing things and then having to re-add them in the future when necessary is much safer for the residential neighborhoods than it is to just leave them in there in the first place.
Thanks, Ted. I'm gonna move us on. Thanks,
Everyone.
Crystal.
Thank you.
Jake, Crystal.
All right, zoning amendments.
So as I said at the beginning of the meeting, I'll just pull up the amended package. And yeah, it's a long time,
This is a
so
lot of
as I
pages.
said, the public hearing was scheduled for last night to consider the Hamlet amendments that I worked on. But that the health board wanted to cancel that, but they could add in what driving did, so I'll pull up. One is pretty basic, the only confusing part of that is adding in Hamlet information and data center, the kind of a key collaboration, it's all part of the zoning. So it's all lives in one document. But definitely touch on very different things. So initially, this law was just to modify the standards of the Hamlet Center and the neighborhood zones. Now we are adding in definitions of data centers and cryptocurrency facilities and related matters. So not only is the purpose to change the Hamlet Center to a neighborhood, it's showing the purpose of this local law to define data centers and cryptocurrency facilities and otherwise take no action to include such uses within any zone district, thereby protecting the order, conduct, safety, health, and well-being of the residents of the town who are faced with heightened risks associated with cryptocurrency facilities and data centers. So the way that zoning works, right, is that there are, as you all know, there's uses allowed depending on the zone district you're in. So this is a clever way of defining the land use and then just not listing it in any zone district. So that if an application was made for it, you're very clearly saying, well, it meets this definition and doesn't fall within any zone district. So.
Is that okay? So cryptocurrency facility, like what is the? Do we have a definition for that?
And we'll go down to that.
Oh, sorry.
We'll no, not at all, that's a good question.
Some people have like 3 or 4, computers like sheds. Or more than that, still major power suckers running all the time, so I wasn't sure how big they have to be before we can say, no, your facility, not a.
Shed.
Yeah, basically. Cause those use,
It's a
so
pretty
those use
broad
up to a
term.
lot.
What is that?
Yeah, right, this is the home occupancy crypto.
Okay. Oh, as it's possible.
The way that it's, the way that it's defined is it doesn't matter about the size. So we'll go into that, I just want to touch on. No, good question, it's. This part here that I've highlighted. Is making very clear, some interpretations that are allowed, so I'll just read what the amendment is. So right now, in the zoning, it currently says this, in section 501, it's about use and occupancy. It says no building or land shall hereafter be used, occupied, and no building or part thereof shall be erected, moved, or altered unless such action is in conformance with the regulations specified in the zone in which said action occurred and any special regulations pertinent thereto. The amendment is to add on to that, go further and say, if an applicant proposes a land use that does not clearly fall within any of the allowable uses specified in the zone, planning department shall deny the application for a zoning permit and inform the applicant of the process of appealing such denial to the Board of Zoning Appeals, inform the applicant of the process of applying for a use variance, or for the applicant to tell board for its review and possible consideration of an amendment to this. Joel made this clarification section. Oops. I just want to make this change all here. Dryden has chapters, it has sections. I can't edit. I can do. All right, I'll come back to that. When a proposed land use clearly falls within a category allowed in the specified zone, or used to find in appendix 1, then such proposed land use shall not be interpreted as falling within another category or defined use unless specifically stated elsewhere by this chapter. It's basically saying, if you meet the definition, we can't construe it to mean anything else. So because that's what happened in Lansing. So Lansing zoning code doesn't define data center because it's a 20-year-old code. Data center is it's a new vernacular. So what the developer did is say, I want to be called in the industrial zone, where the gold plant was. Warehouse is allowed in this general processing of non-agricultural goods. These two uses are allowed. We want to be called one of those. Our data center is either a warehouse or a general processing facility. And the zoning officer wrote a big letter and said, no, that's a bunch of hooey, you don't fall into either of those land uses. Because the Board of Zoning Appeals, long story short, overturned, or they agreed with the decision that a data center is not a warehouse, but they disagreed with the zoning officer that it's not a general processing facility. The board by a narrow majority said it is general processing, and that paved the way for them to proceed with site planning. Now, of course, the ZBA is getting sued. I think they would probably get sued either way, in my opinion. But so I think this is just trying to really clarify that you don't need a definition. You're not allowed. So let's go down to the definition. That's the next. That's the last amendment to this amendment package.
So if you do meet the definition, then you're not allowed to define yourself some other way.
Right.
Right. So here are the definitions, and because I'm a little hoarse on my voice, I'm not going to read these verbatim. If somebody else wants to, they can, or we just sort of peruse these. So there's accessible data center, cryptocurrency, data line. Sort of slowly go south.
Wait, can you go back up?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking.
City brought up an interesting topic. I don't know what city it's not. But so a lot of these data centers are used for trading. These models. So maybe the word trading should be added. In terms of for data center, an industrial use facility that is primarily used for storage, management, processing, and transmission of digital data, should just maybe also add trading digital data.
Are you saying trading or training?
Train.
Trading.
Training, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
They're training computers, too.
Mhm.
As,
So
as,
the only
Meetings
thing
too.
that I think of when reading this, and I'm fully on the same page as everybody else of not having this in Danby. But would that exclude, for instance, like Hayfleys from being able to operate out of Danby? Or like, I don't know, like computer, whoever downtown that is like a computer repair.
it's a good question, I think.
Data.
Well,
Yeah, like any of
Talking
those,
about,
yeah,
it says industrial use for starters, so
Right.
repair would not.
but like Hayfleys is the data, they're like a internet provider service, but they're based out of Spencer, they're just like a local.
Generally started the day.
I did, yeah, well, cause I know the whole family, cause my daughter is friends with their granddaughter, but yeah, yeah.
I just found that an old
Yeah.
file. It's a nineties, that stuff.
That's what kind of made me think of it, cause like they started in Danby, then they went to Spencer, like would that exclude some like local internet provider service from being able to establish?
It's a good question, I think it's worth answering that, I don't. It's a-
I don't know how
It
we
really doesn't look like it from when you read the first sentence.
because of the.
Storage, storage, internet storing, primarily used for storing data. I mean, process.
And transmission.
Yeah, but transmission is, yeah.
Industries,
I mean, Dryden
But-
setting up their own, right? Their
Yeah.
own
Their own internet.
Internet.
Internet
Good.
providers.
They already have their own power,
Same as
quite
in Dryden.
affordable up there. They have their own power company, now they're gonna have their own.
They don't have their own power company, they have
Right.
their own.
Rod has power.
Right, now I'm coming,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. You still have.
Yeah, and they've tried fiber now.
Projection of property on East Miller in the town of Danby is benefiting from drive five.
It's everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're building it on East Miller.
That's cool.
But not far enough.
Yeah,
So let's see this last definition here, cryptocurrency data model.
May I ask an amplification of that same question?
I guess so, I don't know if we're gonna solve it here, but.
Yeah,
That's the question.
Well, you've pretty much you sort of asked the question I was thinking of in my head in the first place, but let me give you two examples. And I'm asking mostly so that Greg will consider it and actually make a statement of the intent of the law. Not necessarily now, but to look at it. Example one would be, for example, what they call a mini central office. Those are those box-like structures operated by the phone company. There's one at the corner of Gunderman and Comfort, for example. I think it's brown, sometimes they're green, which is clearly an auxiliary facility, which has a right of way. It's cited with a right of way on land that is primarily something else. And it's clearly a computing facility. I would hope that that would not be covered. That's one. And my second one example would be, let's say there happens to be a fella who has a lot of computers and runs a computer business out of the house. Now, I would think that the primary use of this would be as a residence, but it is being, used as a home, what would they call it? A home business, a home office, whatnot. But the computing power that's sitting in the house might be comparable to, say, would be well in excess of the computing power used to send men to the moon in earlier years. And I'd like to be assured that that would not be covered under the primary use, the second of the two paragraphs. Dedicated computer room, check. Ventilation, temperature control, check.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen a whole lot here, but when I was in California, there were definitely private residences that our company built.
Yes.
That they're-
I can think of one such case, but there are probably others.
it's, you know, sort of following up. It might be worth like just looking into, right, like something like a hay fleet or a computer storage room. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I
ask
mean,
them.
you know,
Yeah.
really, because they might
Yeah.
have some of their fiber sort of, infrastructure comes up there too.
and I don't wanna open a can of worms, but I assume if it ever goes to public utility, then that's just a whole ballgame we need to deal with when that happens.
Yeah, like. Yeah, I think I spoke about that.
Yeah.
If data center ever got deemed to be public utility. That would really. Open so many things up.
Yeah,
We all-
otherwise, I think
Thing is, we
the
all use
way
it
you incorporated
every
it
time our smartphone goes on, every time we do anything,
well covered in that.
we fight it, but we use it.
Seeing
Fuel that.
close for. Like, like what you explicitly said is that. If you don't, if it's defined. Then you have to stick to the definition, you don't get to try to put it in the box.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Yeah, is there gonna be a motion from the board, just recommending approval or approval with changes or disapproval to the town board? It's actually, just so you know, it is a requirement of the zoning law, I checked, that the planning board must give a report to the town board, this is a big. Yeah, for any zoning amendment, because the zoning amendment.
Right.
We might wanna, how do we phrase it so that it allows for maybe some tweaks you wanna put on it related to the questions that we just asked.
That's one of
Can
the
we-
questions I have as well, is as fast as stuff is moving, we can state where we're at and what we think should happen now, and
They have
Within-
this, I make a motion to support the draft in its intent. To the town board for final. What are you doing, approval? Adoption. Adoption, is that good?
is it possible to also put in something that states that it'll be reviewed on a certain time frame? I just think things are changing so fast,
Is it already? in the
or
agenda?
is that already in there?
Which timeline?
An expedited timeline with the town board so that it gets incorporated, I
Once a
think
year,
that's what
once
you're saying,
once
right?
every 2 years, they'd have to
Yeah.
re-review it. And
Yeah,
see if there's
that's
any
what I'm
changes
saying.
That need to be
You
done.
know, that could just happen anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
in 2 months, anyone could say, we wanna open the zoning back up, and we wanna.
Okay.
Have changes here.
As long as we can do that, that's fine.
Yes,
I'm
you're-
stuck,
You're always at the board.
Okay.
Always recommend changes to
all right.
the.
So are they gonna still incorporate like the private, like Ted was saying, like. Home offices and like the way it reads now, it's gonna limit if someone wants to open a business. Like computing.
Doesn't limit home occupations, home occupations are still their own definition.
What if someone wanted to open a, like. I don't know, just like you were saying, computer repair or just any. I don't know, it seems very restrictive, like it all encompassing.
Definition.
I think as long as we write something that says anything additional or different than what we're talking about right now has to be reviewed somehow.
Where they connect as an internet service provider. Marketing and web technology firm.
Yeah, well, if someone wanted to do like a startup of their own internet company and
What
be
is-
able to distribute it across, you know, the local.
I mean, these. These definitions are really about digital data, they're.
Hmm.
Well, and which houses computer network equipment.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's pretty broad.
But, so real quick too, related to this, you said something about like a home business, like,
yeah,
So again, so if they're doing it in their home, then this doesn't apply? Or,
That makes it sound like it does.
Home businesses are still allowed.
but you said it depends on how it gets classified, but if it's because, I mean. You probably not gonna build a data center in your house, but you could certainly do crypto mining business and have, you know, a whole room full of computers that are doing that
Exactly,
in your home.
absolutely.
And if it's like, hey, this is my home business I started with computers. It's just something to think about, you know, because.
What do we define? Home oc-
It's home occupation, isn't it? Yeah,
Where is,
it's at an H. It's not, I don't know, but I think it's at an H.
then the definition that I have in here is not,
Do you have definitions in there?
it's like a page and a half. I don't think it's the
Oh.
correct version. I think I have the old version in here.
So our concern, maybe we just,
Oh, wait.
rather than making endorsement this evening, maybe we should somehow communicate to the board, I'm not sure exactly how you do it. That we just, we're generally in favor of the intent, but we want to make sure that it's not overly restrictive for small businesses. And just, that's what we have to say to the board, that please, we love what you're doing. Please check that out and get back to us.
So it does, depending on how you take this, right now. Home occupation. Well, so it says it has to, residential has to be the primary use, it's the home occupation is the accessory use. It can't be more than, let's say 2 people. Yeah, 2 additional people who are non-residents can't be employed there. But then it also says the home occupation shall produce no offensive noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odor, heat, glare, or electronic disturbance beyond the property it occupies. So for whatever that means.
Yeah, I think it's worth, I don't have sort of a confident answer at this point, I think it's
Yeah.
worth just exploring and maybe asking like,
Yeah.
hey, what about?
Yeah.
You know, like an internet provider, somebody that just has little laptop repair, gadget repair. You know, home occupation. Would that be precluded because of the definition?
Is there a business where you have several servers? You know,
A
like.
lot of businesses.
Yeah.
We have like 3
Like-
offices in our office, and we're just
So-
architecture firm.
Yeah, so that, you know, if somebody has, but not a firm or anything, but just somebody's got a little business
Right.
in their house, so they got a small business, but they have a bunch of servers for. I don't know, maybe they're subcontracting to an insurance corporation. And they're processing data or something like that.
Well, the other,
Or
so that
sales,
is right now, so
like
many
internet
people are going cloud-based.
Side,
That like, the companies that are doing
I
a
feel like it's
ton
very
of
restrictive.
processing of data don't even have their, everything.
I don't have a problem, I don't
Amazon
have a problem with
platform.
it being less restrictive as long as there isn't something that
That's the
says
other part of that.
that all this stuff comes up
Yeah,
so much, we can't revisit it. That's my,
Just so we know that folks will tell them.
Oh.
What's that?
but what is sharing that it's pretty restrictive, the way it's written.
yeah, get like a 20-acre building, you don't want that up, but if someone's doing it out of their house, I mean, it's just little, and it's not bothering anybody, it's just different. In my eyes. Like Terra Wolf is the extreme, and then you have a residential guy that just wants to provide for his family type deal.
I guess the only, sorry, can I ask?
Yeah.
This turns into electricity requirements more than anything.
Yes.
And getting into that, I mean, I'm curious how many people in this county have services over 600 amps? Ted, can you hear me?
You said something like services over 600 amps.
Yeah, how many amp service do you have to your home?
Gee, when I think about it, it's probably under 300.
Okay. That's,
And actually, the reason for so much was that my solar I have to be able to pump out from my solar panels. It's not what I
Right.
use, but what I provide.
but that's still a pretty small service compared to anything else we're talking about.
But there's nothing in the definition about electric service.
I'm just trying to
But
put
it
down.
could be.
But could that be more of?
Like see something.
That's not a bad consideration, but you should also remember that nowadays smart data facilities are actually generating their own power. There's no service.
That could be the definition for just because you're doing it in the home, like how much electricity are you using?
Or how much
Even
you
it
use,
says you're not disturbing, right? You're not causing problems for.
Other, yeah,
It's hard to measure that kind of.
Yeah.
like-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Sort of.
right.
No, I think
that's
it's
the board to have to figure out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, from what I'm hearing, the board is generally supportive.
Yes.
Mhm.
But there's some questions about, some of the internet service providers.
Yeah, impact on it.
Occasionally, and maybe computer repair on somebody's home, or would those be, targeted because of some of these definitions, and then let's look into that.
Mhm.
Which I'll
If
look
I
at.
find anything, I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
that'd be good.
I just, it could,
Mhm.
it talks here.
So there was a motion, I mean, it doesn't, it can also just be reflected in minutes, if we could just pass the minutes off to, but Morris made us make a motion, just to make that qualifier that, you'd like a little more clarification on, some of the more home occupation type businesses and, smaller scale computer, internet, digital enterprises.
Didn't you make one already, or we just?
Yeah, and we
seconded
could
it?
amend it to find that our concerns are in regards to small internet-based companies and home occupations, and how do we address that?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Mhm. Is everybody in favor of that? Do we have to say, yeah, that sounds like what we should do at this point.
Bergman,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Ryder,
Yes.
yes.
Right, thanks.
Yeah.
Good comment, good question.
Board issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
And a report, or do we save your voice?
Yeah, it's just a brief one that, so last night, the town board, accepted Tobin Development Consultants proposal expanded their new CDBG program, so that's money for both property owners to upgrade their homes, so that's great, so we'll start to roll that program out in the next month. We're working on a special event law, still. These zoning amendments have taken up a little bit more of my time. I also took some time off since our last board meeting. I moved into our house up here at White Box, so.
Congratulations.
So since the last meeting to now, there's. But. So we can do.
Sounds good. Thank you. I will adjourn our meeting. See everybody in April.
When do they start building on Bald Hill?
Hmm?
We need our skate park. When is it?